This video is going to cover Unit 19, Sections 1, 2, and 3. So the entirety of Unit 19. Now 19.1 is very short. It just talks about plane geometry. What plane geometry is everything just on the surface. So there's no volumes. We're only going to be talking about areas of figures, no volumes. Couple of the figures I want to point out on the top of page 519 are the trapezoids. Now, a trapezoid, the definition of a trapezoid is when you have a four-sided object and two of the sides, and only two of the sides, are parallel. For example, a parallelogram, which is in the top right corner, both sides are parallel. So the top side is parallel with the bottom side, and the right side is parallel to the left side. And a trapezoid, only the bases are parallel. For example, if I have a figure like this, this is the typical way we see a trapezoid, okay? And these two lines right here are parallel. Now, sometimes a trapezoid can be drawn like this. Well, it could be drawn anyway, as long as two of the sides are parallel. That would be a 90-degree angle right there. So that side and that side are parallel. There are times when we're going to see a trapezoid and it's going to be oriented like this. Like that right there. That side and that side are parallel. And there's a 90-degree angle right there. So the trapezoids are the ones that are something you got to pay attention to make sure that you recognize that it is a trapezoid. Now 19.2 deals with axioms and postulates. Now axioms and postulates are things that are accepted as true without need of being proved. So you don't need to prove an axiom and a postulate. They just simply are. Okay? It's kind of like it mentions in the book, they're kind of like rules of the game. Now, there are several of them listed here, but I want to point out on page 521, the two in the middle, the whole is equal to the sum of its parts. I know that seems kind of simplistic, but we have to understand that if we add up all of the parts of something, we have the whole of it. And also, the one below that, it says the whole is greater than any of the parts. So if you have a line, let's say from here to here, and we break it up into parts, if you take any of the individual parts, the whole is always going to be greater. Even if you have a part that's really, really, really small and you take this part away, the whole is still going to be greater. Okay? And the one on the bottom of page 521, only one line can be drawn through 2 points. And when I say a line, I mean a straight line. So if I have 2 points, I can only make one line through, one straight line through those 2 points. Now on the next page, it talks about parallel lines. So if I have a line right here, and then there's a point away from that line somewhere over here, there is only one line that can be drawn through that point that will be parallel to this line. So if I take a line right here, and these arrows right here, by the way, indicate that they're parallel. So a single arrow means that this line and this line are parallel. So if I draw another line through this point right here, like that one right there, then this line that I just drew is not going to be parallel to either one of these two lines. It can't be, because this one there's only one line that can be drawn through that point that is parallel to this line. And the one just below that, it says that two straight lines can intersect at only one point. That doesn't mean they have to intersect at only one point, but they can only intersect at one point. For example, this line and this line are parallel. They will never intersect. However, this line and this line are not parallel, so they will intersect at one point and only one point, and that's that point right there. They will not, no matter how far you go this way and this way, or back this way and this way, they will not intersect again. Okay, so 19.3 deals with points and lines and all that fun stuff. Now a point, I'm on page 522, just below midway. A point is always shown as a dot on the paper, but it has no shape, it has no distance, it doesn't have any length, any direction. Even though I know technically you can measure the distance from this side of that point to that side, but this is just represented by a dot. A point has no dimensions to it. Now a line, like I've drawn here and here and here and here, a line goes on forever in both directions. That's what the arrows indicate. The arrows on a line indicate that it goes on forever and ever. Now a line segment, on the other hand, does not. For instance, if I started here and I drew right to here, that's a line segment, as indicated by no arrows on the end. So this line segment goes from here to here. Now you can have a line segment inside of a line. For example, here's a line, and from this point right here to this point, if I started here and stopped here, that would be a line segment. And we also have curved lines that you see on the top of page 523. There's curved lines. We have parallel lines. I already talked a little bit about parallel lines. They do not intersect. And these arrows right here indicate that a line is parallel to another line. For example, let me draw a couple more. Okay, so let's see. We have that line and that line. Oop, that's terrible. They should be parallel. Let's say we have another line going that way and that way. Now the first set of lines is parallel, even though it's terrible parallel lines. But now if I want to indicate these two lines are parallel, I can't just put one arrow on it, because that would indicate that these lines are parallel. I have to double up the arrows. So two arrows are parallel and one arrow is parallel. That's how we indicate parallel lines. Now perpendicular lines meet at a 90-degree angle. So if two lines are perpendicular, I would be able to draw that 90-degree square right there where they intersect. Parallel lines, perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are indicated by that square right there. Now, the way we draw or write these things out is important, okay? So let's say that I've got this line right here, and let's say this is point A and this is point B. And I want to indicate that I'm talking about line AB. So I draw AB right here, and over top of it I have to put a line, arrows like that right there. Now if I'm talking about line segment, let's just call this CD, I would draw a C and a D and then a line segment over top of it, indicating that this is not a line, but a line segment. And this is important to understand where the arrows come in and where the arrows do not come in. All right? And the way we indicate that lines are parallel and perpendicular, let's say we've got this line right here. So let's call this point E and point F, and then we'll call these 2 points M and N. Okay, so these 2 lines are perpendicular. I would write EF. EF. It really doesn't matter the order. The order, if it's a ray, it does matter. We'll talk about that. And then I write M and N, and then put a line above that. Now they're perpendicular, so this is the indication for perpendicular right there. Now 2 lines that are parallel, let's come back over here. Let's say that this is A and B, and then X and Y. So 2 parallel lines I would indicate as AB, put the line over top of it, and then X, Y, put a line over top of it. And now the symbol in between parallel lines is drawn like this. So, perpendicular and parallel. Now line segments can be perpendicular and parallel as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the bottom of page 523. Oh, let's look at number 4. Now, write each statement using symbols. Symbols means that I'm going to do it just like this. A, it says segment BC is parallel to segment DE. So I will write BC, and that's a segment. And then I will write DE, and that is also a segment, and parallel, so I put this symbol between them. Now this is symbolism. B says line FG, so FG, and that's a line. These are very important to draw the arrows or to not draw the arrows, depending on whether or not it is a line or a line segment. So line FG is perpendicular to line HK. So HK, and it is a line, and it is parallel. So I put the parallel right there. And then C, it says segment AB, line segment, is parallel to line CD. So a line can be parallel or perpendicular to a line segment. Now on the next page it says sketch. Now sketching is when we draw it out. So the first, let's go to, let's just look at A. Line MP is parallel to line RS. So I will write MP, and then there's more that's going to be added to this, but I'm just writing this part of it down first. Oh, what was that line? RS. And the distance between the 2 lines is represented by X. So that means that X is right there, like that. Okay, so let's take a look at B. It says segment AB is perpendicular to segment CD. Now this can be drawn a couple of different ways. For one, I can draw it with the perpendicular line right here or anywhere in here. Let's see if there's anything else that I need. Line AB is perpendicular to CD, segments, they're both segments, and point C lies on AB. So if this is point C right here, and this is point D right there, I would have to draw AB through this point right there. So right there. So A, B, and put the perpendicular right there. So line C does lie, or point C rather, point C does lie on line segment AB, and at the same time, segment DC is perpendicular to AB. Okay, let's see here. Let's go all the way down to E. Line EF is parallel to line GH. And EF is perpendicular at point P. Okay, so EF is parallel to GH. So let's draw that part first. Keep doing that wrong. F, GH. GH, parallel, and EF, this one right here, is perpendicular to LM at point P. Okay, so I've got to draw LM in here. Now I can continue drawing it through here because it's a line, because it goes on forever. So this point right here has to be P, and I just indicate this line as L and M. And now I would have to put a perpendicular right there. Now, because these two lines are parallel, if this line is perpendicular to this one, it is also perpendicular to that one as well. Yep. Okay. So it's important to make sure that you get the symbolism right, whether it be a segment or a line, and make sure that you get these indications. What is happening, what has been happening in this class is that people are missing that and they're missing these. This has been true for every class that I've taught. And every time I try to stress, make sure you write these things in right here. People forget these symbols right here, the parallel symbols and the perpendicular symbols, and a lot of people do not write arrows on their lines above the letters. These are things that are extremely frequently missed. So I would like to encourage you to do it the right way for once. I would like a class to do this the right way. I don't understand why, but it just happens. This thing is missed, and these lines, these parallel symbols are missed. Okay,